Being a tech reviewer on YouTube is kind of a funny job. I get emails asking me to review everything from foot massages to smart handcuffs to gloves you can make phone calls with. I actually said yes to that one though, that was quite cool. I get like 50... This is going so well. I get like 50 messages a day just asking for a free phone, and they're always strangely specific. It's not like, please can I have any phone, I really need to make phone calls. It's, I'm very poor, please can I have an iPhone 11 Pro Max, 512 gigs, with AirPods. And comments. I don't think it would be possible for me to make a tech review video where someone wouldn't claim I was paid by someone to make it. I've had, this review was so positive, it was definitely paid for by Samsung. Never happened. I've even had, this review of Samsung was so negative, it was clearly paid for by Apple. Definitely never happened. But here's the thing, even though it's got its quirks, I love being on YouTube. So now that we've just hit 4 million subscribers, I'm going to show you what it's actually like behind the scenes, and tell you how it very nearly didn't happen. So, to kind of clear the air, to break the illusion, not everything on YouTube is quite as it seems. For example, yeah, I wear shorts. And even when I wear trousers, you can be pretty sure that whatever I have on the top half has no resemblance to what I'm wearing on the bottom half. This beautiful, clean, white desk. It's supported on 4 books to minimize wobble. My tropical foliage is actually just a plant I brought from downstairs, and I think it's dying. This might make it seem like I'm being really lazy, but honestly there's just a lot to do. Like with YouTube, there's no one to tell you what's next. You've just got to constantly decide what you think is important. And for me, putting trousers on never quite reaches the top. But why am I so busy? Surely I just get phones, play with them, talk about them. And yeah, that is one way you could technically run a tech YouTube channel. But there's 2 extra things I do that just take time. Number 1 being the testing. And some of this you see, those battery tests I make, which are 8+ hours of just waiting for phones to run out of juice. Literally the tech equivalent of watching paint dry. You've probably seen a couple of camera tests too. But behind all that, what you don't see as much is that for every single phone I'm planning on either reviewing or giving any conclusive opinion about, I put my SIM card in, transfer all my apps, and set it up and use it as my main phone. I do it because I don't think you can actually know a phone until your SIM card is in it. Until it's the phone you use first thing in the morning and the last thing before bed. Until you feel how it fits into your actual life. No! And that's something I'm trying to do more of now. And the second thing that keeps me so busy is kind of a promise I made to myself. I don't want to make a single video where I don't think you as a viewer are getting value. Which sounds like a strange thing to say, you're not paying to watch the video, but the way I see it, you're kind of paying with your time. And I try really hard not to waste it. And since I started doing this, I scrap like 80% of the videos I plan. I've got 25 tabs open in my Chrome browser at any one time. 8 of them right now are videos I'm planning. Probably only 2 of them will get made. And it also means that I'm really particular now about sponsored stuff I make. If a company comes to me and they say, we've got these 12 talking points, we want you to kind of go through these one by one, I tell them to take a hike. In fact, I've got a new email template. Let me show it to you actually, it's beautiful. Hi, thanks for your email, I appreciate your offer, but I'm not asking for money. Please just send the item, and if I like it, I'll feature it on YouTube. Thanks. It means less money, yes, but it also means there's no pressure at all to include stuff that I think is bad. Unless it's so bad it's funny. Anyway, I think you're starting to get the picture of what things are like now. But how did this happen? How is it that one minute I wasn't a YouTuber, and I wasn't really planning to be one, but the next minute I was? Well, I could actually put it down to a single minute of my life. So, like most kids, I grew up knowing what I was good at, maths, economics, but not really knowing what job that would lead to. I've always been fairly creative, but I think generally for people in that position, unless you actively steer away, you just end up kind of going down the default path for what your strengths set you up for. And that's where I was. I took each year as it came. You've got to sit this exam, okay, I'll do that. You've got to apply for this internship, okay, I'll do that. And it was like I blinked twice and then woke up and I was working in an office. I'd gotten myself an 8-week internship as a consultant, someone who goes into other companies and tells them how they can improve. And basically, if I impressed my company, I'd get a full-time job. I was still making YouTube videos throughout this time, but it was tough. If you were following all the way back in 2016, you might have noticed I was taking all kinds of shots from all kinds of angles in my room, because I just didn't have the time to go outside and film properly. The reason was, I was working hard at this company. I was trying to be a productivity machine. I was trying to get all the contacts. I was trying to impress everybody. It didn't feel like my dream job, but does anyone do their dream job? You grow up looking at people around you, very few seem to really love what they do, so I just kind of assumed this was normal. And anyway, 8 weeks later, the manager took me into a room and he said, "Congratulations, you got it, job's yours." And I was ecstatic, I couldn't believe it, my heart was racing. In a weird kind of way, this moment was everything my entire life had led up to. Every exam I'd ever sat, every class I'd ever went to was really just to get into a company like this. And I was set for life. In that moment I knew that unless I became a felon, I was staying there. But that same evening, I had a bit of a realization. I was sitting on my laptop, reading over this job description again and again, the promotion ladder, the companies I'd be working with, the pay. This was a dream job for some people, but in my head, something clicked. Have you ever watched a movie where the main character has this kind of flashback and all the pieces of the puzzle suddenly slot into place and they realize what's important to them? Yeah, well, that's kind of what I had. I remember those times I would sit at my desk working throughout lunchtime, but now I really thought about it, I was sat there drafting video ideas. I was hyper productive at the company, I was a productivity machine, but on reflection I was only really trying to finish those tasks so that I could come home and film. Some things I'd been doing there were even fun, believe it or not, but I suddenly realized that pretty much everything I'd enjoyed had something to do with either tech or YouTube. Like, one of my favorite projects was literally working on a tech YouTube video for them. And with this thought, gears started turning. As a kid, I'd always thought I'd be a business owner one day, but I realized that the second I walk into this company, I'd be closing that door behind me. I'd always cared about my YouTube channel, I'd always really liked it, but for some reason it was never more than a fun hobby that I had. It wasn't until this moment that it clicked that wow, YouTube could actually be my job. And before I knew what was happening, my hands were flying around the keyboard and I typed up a letter. A rejection letter. Let me reiterate, I spent my entire school career trying to top the class so I could get into a good uni. I spent the entire uni trying to top the class so I could get a good job. I'd get that good job, and yet I was just sitting there about to click send on an email that's just one massive nope to the entire thing. I remember distinctly the moment hovering over that send button thinking, Aaron, you are an idiot. You could have just not gone to university in the first place. That would have just been perfect. But now I think about it, maybe it all needed to happen just so I could have had that moment of realization. And genuinely, from that moment, I did not look back. I knew I wouldn't technically have a job when I graduated, and I knew my videos weren't where they needed to be, but there was this kind of fire of excitement. I'd spent my entire university life loving it, clinging onto it, and genuinely dreading for it to end. But that's only because it's always been described to me as like the high point of your life, and that it's only downhill from there. But if I'm really honest, right now, right here, in this moment, I've never been happier. I feel like I'm learning so much every year, like I'm leveling up in a video game, and I genuinely can't wait for what's next. So, on that note, I just want to say thank you. There are a whole number of funny, odd parts of being a YouTuber that I laugh about, but the core message is that I'm very, very grateful. The goal this year is 5 million subscribers, which, it sounds kind of crazy. To get there, we need 5,000 subscribers every day for 200 days continuously, but I genuinely think we can do that. So, with that being said, my name is Aaron, this is Mr. Who's the Boss, and I'll catch you in the next one.